When Ellis awoke in the field, she was more confused than ever. She had been, well, what was she doing before she awoke? The memory was a lost grain to the sands of time. She glanced over the plain. The grass was a reflected color of the sunrise on dew, though the sky was midday. The golden tone danced as though a large breeze was blowing through it, but when she looked down at the ones at her feet, the light and dark colors moved themselves while the grass stayed still. Trying to stay level-headed, as she was always praised for as a child, she scanned her directions. To one side of her was an immense forest, mangled with the grassland as they stretched out into the horizon. The trees blew with a greater intensity than the grass, and she mistrusted that the most. On the other side, it was mostly grass with one exception, a large city directly in front of her, though far off. She would find someone there, and perhaps they would understand the situation a little better for her. Ellis walked, and the ground beneath her moved with her. It appeared flat, but as her foot would hit the ground, it would soften and bend. It made the walk bearable, as she had always been a chronic foot pain sufferer. The city was surrounded by a large wall, with windows cut from stone, and inside the houses seemed to be made of the same concrete, tall and square, reaching high with a cold ambition. The streets were empty, and she was beginning to feel like she was alone. "Are you a kind person?" "Hello?" she shouted, but no one would answer. "Do you like dogs?" "I need some help. I don't know where I am." Maybe they didn't understand the direness of her situation. "What is your favorite color?" "Yellow." Was this a trick of some kind? Or like a test? Would they only reveal themselves when she had satisfied him? That thought made her frustrated, but she had no other choice. Nothing moved, and Ellis was feeling unsure if anyone had even heard. "Lie. Why is yellow your favorite?" "My best friend's favorite color was yellow. When I think of the color, I think of her." The words felt like salt poured onto her tongue. The buildings of the city looked like they were constructed with random walls and floors and windows missing. Stairs went from one structure to another, a giant spider web made of brick and stone, and in this web was she the trapped fly? "Lie. Do you like books?" "No, they're honestly boring." Ellis took interest in a bright red door. It was the front entrance to one of the tall spires, but it was not entirely uniform. The bottom 2 stories had the look of a northern townhouse, complete with a partial wraparound porch. Like most, it had both levels labeled A and B, but it was all one house. She climbed the wooden stairs to the door and pushed it open curiously. "Lie. Do you give money to strangers?" "If you're talking about homeless people, then yes. They need it more than I do." Stepping into the hallway, she looked to her left where she found the living room. She knew it would be there, but she could not say why. Any way to determine its origin were stripped. There was no furniture, warmth, or any sense of humanity about it, except for the pictures. "Lie. Who is the best person you know?" "My mother. She came from nothing, went through hell, and has been able to support a family by herself." "That is a lie." "Like you would know." She poked. The pictures were in black and white, hung about the walls all at the same height. No regard was given to the relation to the tables or couches. Like a museum, they sat on display, a showcase of someone's life. The first was a family of 4. An older woman and man stood behind 2 children. The first was a boy, and the second was a girl. The first 3 all had the same brown eyes, a similar shaped nose, and a wide smile. The girl was faceless, yet they loved her all the same. "Have you tried woodworking?" "No," Ellis said, disinterested. In the second picture, the girl had grown up, a cap and gown, holding a blank certificate. Ellis judged that she looked proud, but a part of her felt sad. A girl with no face, proud of her accomplishments. Why did it make her want to tear up? It was the happiest day of that girl's life. She walked down the hallway. More pictures followed her as she went. So many people laughing, smiling, birthdays being celebrated, and vacations being enjoyed. The girl was in every single one. If she was sad, angry, or anything else, no one seemed to notice. They hugged her and posed with the joy unwavering. Ellis wanted to know more about her. She wanted to jump through the frames and ask her who she was, how she felt, and if she was okay. If this was her house, she would have to have a bedroom. Ellis found the stairs and climbed them where she found the girl's room. If she could just find something the girl left behind, like a note or something, she could figure it out then. She crossed the threshold, but there was no room. "Have you traveled before?" "Oh." She had forgotten where she was. Ahead of her was a flight of stairs going to another pillar. No, she had to know who the girl was. Why she had no face. Why? She turned back and the flight continued down, no sign of an entry. She was suspended several feet in the air. The girl is who the voice is looking for, too, she thought. Why else would her pictures be everywhere? I mean, if she could convince the voice that, she was her, maybe she could get out of this weird place. "Where did you go to school?" "It doesn't have a name. My certificate is empty," Ellis confidently replied. She followed the path up to the next spire and found a room with 3 openings. They went up, down, and forward. Up and down were very straight, but forward was an endlessly curvy hall, its end unseen. She chose up. "Lie." "Not a lie. Why would I lie anyway?" The voice didn't answer, but what was she expecting? Up took her to another room with a large painting. It had to be much taller than her, and was hanging on the opposite wall. It depicted a grinning man sitting at a desk writing. The walls were painted a light ocean blue, while the ocean sported a much darker royal blue. "Do you celebrate your friends' accomplishments?" "Of course. It's wonderful to see them succeeding." Ellis took little note of the canvas and continued, picking a door to her left that was a hallway with a Z format that looped several times. It had windows sporadically, even where there shouldn't have been. She came out with a choice of left or right. That was a lie again. "I care about the people in my life. That's not a lie." Left. Ellis was getting frustrated. If the voice thought she was lying, she would never get out. And the truth? The girl had no face. She could be anyone. The house had pictures. Maybe she could find a way back to the room or any semblance of who she was if she just kept looking. "There is no honesty in you." "I wouldn't lie about a thing like that." The pathway opened to a large room. On the other side was a spiral staircase. She squinted, and she could see little slips of paper falling down the center of the stairs. She stepped closer. They were falling like rain, some landing before they could reach the bottom. "Are you a good person?" The voice had no way of knowing if she was telling the truth or not. It decided that Ellis was lying, even when she was telling the truth. She had tried to tell it about the girl, but that didn't seem truthful to the voice either. Who could she be? Who could the voice want? Was she stuck here forever? A panic took over her as she thought about it. There had been a way out, perhaps near the city or out or somewhere. She looked up to where the papers were coming from. The top extended further than she could see, but each level had different openings. The slips were t-shirt stickers that said, "Hello, my name is." All of them were blank, but they were signs that someone had erased whatever name had been on there. "Do you prefer the mountains or the beach?" She raced up to the next level and took a left. She had to get out. "What's the worst thing to happen to you?" Running, she went down, left, right, then right again. "Can you speak another language?" Searching, left, down, forward. "Do you have any pets?" She passed through room after room, trying to get out. A library lit by candles, a park with walls painted like sunset, a room filled with cigarette smoke, a kitchen whose cabinets were empty, a red hallway with razor blades, a pool room, all the balls in position to start. Do you care for the people in your life? Entering a concrete corridor, she rushed to the other side, another room waiting for her. She fell to the floor, her stomach becoming a pit she could fall into. Her whole body shook, and a violent sound came out of her mouth that may have been no. There was a large picture of Ellis, her face still and emotionless. "Can you be trusted?" I've answered your questions. I've told you the truth. I don't know what you want to hear. I don't know who the girl is. I'm sorry. I want to know too. I want to know that she's all right, that someone cares for her. What do you want? Who are you? I'm me. Right? Then she fell. The walls and staircases became one, and she could not tell how many floors she had fallen. Left, right, front, and back became one, a gray mouth swallowing her whole. Up and down became one. Here and there became one. Past and future became one. Time and space all becoming one thing. The falling. Then there were two. Who are you? The fall and the voice. Even as the wind flew through her hair and whipped at her clothes, the voice continued. The ground never came, and neither did her answer. She exposed herself fully, and the voice was not satisfied. It never would be. Who are you? I'm falling. I am the falling. If it never ended, that's all she would be. Her history, cares, and loves were all degraded by gravity. The woman who had known who she was would never know the ground. With no one to see, who was she no longer existed. If a tree falls in the forest when no one is around, does it even make a sound? Who are you? No, she would not accept it. She knew who she was, who she is. The voice could taunt her and throw her down, but she knew. She would speak it into existence. It was not for the voice. It was for her. She would not forget who she was. She was not the falling. It would end or she would. I know who Ellis is. She screamed, but her lungs were empty. She willed the wind into her, but the wind stopped and she was already full. Water hugged her sides. She was not drowning. Her body was welcoming it in as easy as air. It did not sting her eyes. It was warm, and floating in it was bliss. Are you not Ellis? Tiredness that had been subconscious set in quickly. Moving in the liquid was strained, and she gave up not long after trying. Thinking and attempting to rationalize how long she had been up would be a task for another day. She needed to sleep. The voice would understand, and if it didn't, she did not care. She closed her eyes. Who are you? They opened again at the sound, though searching for the source was helpless. Sleeping was likely helpless, but she had to try. She was so exhausted. The voice could kill her with exhaustion before she would satiate it. She tried again, but the voice always cut in. It stopped everything. It had taken everything, and still would not give her relief until it took more. And why not? You won. Just be done with it. She mouthed, as even talking in the water was strenuous. You've won. I don't know who I am. Ask your questions. My answer is the same. I don't know. If she died here, she would not give it what it wanted. She could die with that. Who is your mother's daughter? No. Who is your brother's sister? No. Who is your husband's wife? No. You don't get to ask that. You don't get to bring them into this. They're mine, she thought. They're all I have. They've made me into this sad Jenga tower. You can't take them from me. Who is the girl in the picture? Just stop. I can't do this anymore. Just make it stop, please. Make it stop. She pleaded. She twisted and flailed against the thickness. The voice knew her secret. She still didn't want to give it up. If it took that, it would all be over. If she admitted it, it would be real. It was the only thing protecting her from herself, yet somehow she knew that she had to release it. She hated the answer. She hated herself. My mother's daughter is Ellis Brown. She is kind, smart, and always makes her mother proud. She's not real. My brother's sister is Elle, who is silly and carefree, but always there for him with good advice. She's not real. My husband's wife. The water froze in her mouth and held her tongue. Blood was one thing, love was another, but the voice knew. She's Miss Moore. She cares about him and would do anything for him. She loves him, and he loves her, even if she's not real. The guilt was more painful than any physical injury could match. If someone could love her, she could be a person, but they loved the people that she played. Her throat constricted and salt stung her eyes. They made her, and she abandoned them. Still, there was a relief. She kept them as her own personal lie, but now she would not have to share that burden. Who is Ellis Moore when she's alone? She doesn't exist. Not anymore. She wept. She was not sure if it was for Ellis Moore, Brown, or herself. If it was for the woman with no daughter, the brother with no sister, or the man with no wife, she could not say. She would not kid herself and say she would weep for them, but maybe she had convinced herself at this point. So many names for so many audiences. And when you're alone, I'm no one. Less than dead. A current swept a calm over her. The thought made her laugh until the tears were in her eyes again. So many lives with no one to live them. She devolved into a fit of hysterics, and for a moment she thought she heard the voice laugh too. Nothing was as delightful then. No names to take, no audience to watch.